You know, ladies, as Al's best friend, I'd like to talk to you about him for a minute if I could. The beard, pretty cheesy looking, isn't it?
Back then, a sitcom about a man who could not fix anything became the #1 show on television. And yes, that show was Home Improvement. When it first aired on ABC in 1991, it turned Tim Allen into a household name and made grunting an acceptable way to communicate. For 8 seasons, we watched Tim the Tool Man Taylor break everything he touched while somehow still keeping his family together. Tim Allen played the power tool-obsessed host of Tool Time, a home improvement show that probably broke every safety rule known to humans. Patricia Richardson played Jill Taylor, his wife, who mastered the skill of the patient sigh and the sharp, disapproving look. Richard Karn played Al Borland, Tim's flannel-wearing partner, who actually knew what he was doing. Pamela Anderson started her career as Lisa, the original Tool Time girl who handed Tim power tools before later leaving for Baywatch. The 3 Taylor sons, Zachary Ty Bryan, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and Taryn Noah Smith, went through their teenage years while their dad turned home improvement into a kind of performance art. Then there was Wilson, the thoughtful neighbor whose face we never fully saw, but whose advice was always needed. Today, we are taking you behind all the grunting, the power tool disasters, and even some jail time for a cast member, because we are counting down 15 strange and ridiculous facts about home improvement that you probably did not know. Before we get into that, hit the like button and subscribe because it really does help. And stay with us for fact number 15 to find out how Tim and Al reunited for a real-time revival many years later. Now, let's get into it with number 1. Tim Allen was literally a criminal before becoming TV's favorite dad. Before Tim Allen became America's go-to television father, teaching us about power tools, grunting through home repairs, and making flannel look cool, he was on a very different career path, one that involved federal prison. Yes, we are starting with the serious stuff today. In 1978, 25-year-old Tim Allen, whose real name is Timothy Allen Dick, which is actually his real name and not a joke, was arrested at Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport for drug trafficking. This was not a small arrest either. He was caught with more than 650 grams of cocaine, about 1.4 pounds for anyone keeping track at home. For some context, that amount is not for personal use, and it is not even in the "I have a problem" category. That is the kind of amount where a judge is ready to throw the book at you. Allen was facing a possible life sentence. Life! For a man who would later make millions pretending to shock himself with Christmas lights and grunting like a caveman, that is a very dark alternate future. But Tim Allen did not become a sitcom star by making the same bad choice twice. He made a deal with federal prosecutors. He agreed to give up the names of other drug dealers, and in return, they reduced his sentence. Allen accepted the deal, shared names, and spent a little over 2 years in federal prison before being released in 1981. Snitches get sitcoms, apparently. That is definitely not how the saying goes, but somehow it worked out for Tim. Here is where things get strange. Instead of staying quiet after prison, Allen decided to become a stand-up comedian. His observational comedy about relationships, tools, and masculinity connected with audiences. By the early 1990s, he landed Home Improvement, and suddenly, the former criminal was teaching America how to safely use a table saw. It was one of those Hollywood stories that felt almost too strange to be real. A few years later, he was not just a sitcom dad anymore. He was voicing Buzz Lightyear and playing Santa Claus in the Santa Claus. The man went from a federal prisoner to literally playing Santa.
I'm okay.
Look! We're flying!
It's okay, I'm used to it. I lived through the 60s.
And somehow, it worked, proving that Hollywood really has a soft spot for redemption stories. Now, I know you're wondering, did ABC know about his criminal past when they cast him? Absolutely. Did they care? Not really. They were much more focused on the ratings than on his background. Number 2. The show had 2 major casting disasters. Most sitcoms cross their fingers and hope the original cast works out. Home Improvement had to take that risk not once, but twice.
You're afraid to go down in that deep, dark basement, aren't you?
No, I'm not afraid. Just don't like it, you know, when the furnace goes whoosh.
All right, I'll light the pilot light if I get a big kiss.
Do I have to?
You have to.
Okay, but only if I really have to.
Before Patricia Richardson became America's favorite tired and frustrated TV wife, the role of Jill Taylor was actually given to Frances Fisher. Yes, the same actress who played Rose DeWitt Bukater in Titanic almost became the mother at the center of Tool Time chaos. She filmed the early version of the pilot with Tim Allen, but the producers and, according to reports, test audiences felt the chemistry was not working. Fisher's performance was seen as too serious for a light, family-friendly sitcom, so ABC decided to keep Tim Allen and recast the role before the show ever aired. That is when Patricia Richardson stepped in. She had been working steadily mostly in drama roles and was not planning to do a sitcom at all, but after a quick audition and an even quicker haircut, she got the role and spent 8 seasons giving side-eye to power tools while raising 3 sitcom sons. But that was not the only casting close call. Tim's trusted Tool Time partner, Al Borland, was originally meant to be played by Stephen Tobolowsky, yes, that same actor from Groundhog Day and Memento. He was cast but could not film the pilot because he had a movie commitment. That opened the door for Richard Karn, who was not even auditioning for the role. He was actually attending traffic school for a speeding ticket when he happened to sit next to an agent who told him about the show. Karn showed up, nailed the audition, and got the job. For a while, he even kept managing his apartment building, just in case being Tim Allen's flannel-wearing partner did not work out. Not bad for a guy who showed up because of a speeding ticket and left as one of the most loved sidekicks of the 1990s. Number 3. Wilson's hidden face came from Tim Allen's childhood. Every sitcom needs a special idea. Cheers had the bar. Seinfeld had the hallway. Home Improvement had Wilson, the neighbor whose face you never fully saw. And unlike most TV jokes that are created late at night in writers' rooms, this one came straight from Tim Allen's real childhood. When he was growing up, Allen was too short to see over his neighbor's fence. Every conversation was just a forehead, maybe a pair of eyes, and a voice giving advice from above the wooden fence, like a suburban wise man.
Sometimes I don't know about her.
This isn't about her.
It's not.
No. This is about you.
Decades later, that childhood memory turned into one of the most famous visual jokes in television history. Earl Hindman, who played the character whose whole idea was being the wise neighbor you could never fully see, committed to the joke more than anyone expected. For 204 episodes, Wilson's face stayed hidden behind fences, garden tools, Halloween masks, turkey basters, and whatever random object the writers came up with that week. Hindman was so dedicated to the idea that, according to stories from the crew, he even stayed hidden behind props when the cameras were not rolling, just to keep the mystery alive. Audiences loved it. Wilson became one of the show's most popular characters, even though no one knew what he really looked like. He shared philosophy, quoted books, and always gave Tim exactly the advice he needed, even though Tim would usually misunderstand it and almost burn his garage down. Then came the series finale in 1999. After 8 seasons and 204 episodes, the show finally showed Wilson's face. It was emotional, meaningful, and proved that sometimes the best reveals are worth waiting 8 years for.
Playing Wilson is Earl Hindman.
The camaraderie, the relationship with me and Tim, and the whole cast.
One of the most long-lasting jokes in sitcom history came from Tim Allen being a short kid, which is exactly the kind of strange and funny origin story this show deserved. Number 4. Patricia Richardson was offered $25 million for season 9, and she said no. Home Improvement ended in 1999 after 8 seasons, not because the ratings were dropping, but because the stars walked away from a combined total of over $75 million. ABC really wanted a 9th season. The show was still a ratings powerhouse, so they offered ridiculous amounts of money to keep it going. Tim Allen was offered $50 million for 25 episodes. That's $2 million per episode. Patricia Richardson was offered $25 million, also an amazing amount, but exactly half of what Allen was being offered. Richardson had already decided she was done. 8 years of playing the long-suffering wife was enough. But she didn't just turn down the money quietly.
Could you maybe work up a little enthusiasm?
I'm sorry, honey. Gosh, I'm excited. You want to be laying around the house, mooching off the boys and me. Oh, do the other side. Oh, I'm your love slave.
Is it okay if I go over to Tommy's?
What?
She countered with a demand she knew ABC would say no to. $2 million per episode to match Allen, plus an executive producer credit. Was she really planning to return? Probably not, but her message was clear. If you're offering life-changing money, at least act like my work is valued the same. ABC rejected her immediately, but Tim Allen, who could have taken $50 million on his own, refused to continue without Richardson. The network suggested ideas like writing Jill out or even killing her character, but Allen said no to every option. No Jill, no show. The series finale even reflected the real-life drama. Tim and Al quit Tool Time because of network interference. Both stars chose principle over payday. ABC lost its biggest sitcom, and somewhere a network executive is still trying to figure out how they let a guaranteed moneymaker slip away by refusing to pay up. Number 5. Tim Allen grunted his way to fame, and maybe a doctor's office. It started as a joke, a single caveman-style sound to emphasize a punchline, but it didn't stop there. Tim Allen's deep, guttural grunt became the unofficial theme of home improvement. He grunted when things worked, when they failed, when he was confused, proud, angry, or just passing time on air.
Oh, yeah, just like the North Sea, where the men smell like fish.
At one point, it was basically the show's second language. But here's where things got rough, literally. According to behind-the-scenes stories, all that chest-thumping, grunt-filled comedy began to take a toll.
Yeah, secure enough. Oh, yeah.
Rumor has it that midway through the series, Allen's throat started to feel the strain. There's no official doctor's note, but cast and crew suggested that his voice needed a rest, and producers eventually asked him to ease up on the primal howling.
Yeah?
By the later seasons, the grunts were still there, but much quieter. Less like an ape with a socket wrench, and more like a dad with a mild sinus infection.
I like rebuilding, boy. Hammer, hammer. Yeah, I saw him.
Whether it was a creative choice or to protect his voice, the iconic sound changed. So while the grunt helped make Tim Allen a sitcom superstar, it may have also worn out his vocal cords like drywall dust. It's a small price to pay for comedy, fame, and endless impersonations by dads all across America. So yes, the grunt made him famous and probably made his ear, nose, and throat doctor even richer. Number 6. Tim Allen had the #1 show, movie, and book all at the same time. In November 1994, Tim Allen was having the kind of month that makes other celebrities wonder, wait, did I even start? His sitcom, Home Improvement, was at the top of the ratings.
Well, I got them. Hardest tickets in the city to get, front row seats.
You got tickets to Madame Butterfly?
I tried, honey, but they were all sold out.
At the same time, his holiday movie, The Santa Claus, hit #1 at the box office, and his book, Don't Stand Too Close to a Naked Man, reached #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. That's right, TV, film, and publishing. Total domination. If you turned on the TV, there was Allen hosting Tool Time, sponsored by Benford Tools. You walked past the theater and there he was again, this time playing Santa Claus. And if you went into a bookstore, his book was staring at you from the bestseller table. A triple crown moment, #1 in 3 major entertainment categories at the same time, is incredibly rare. And the fact that it came from a man who had spent time in federal prison just over 10 years earlier made it even more unbelievable. His memoir wasn't ghost-written fluff either. It had his real voice, full of humor about masculinity and relationships. The movie wasn't chasing Oscars, it was a family comedy about accidentally becoming Santa. Yet it was a huge success and even had sequels. For one surreal moment in 1994, Tim Allen was literally everywhere. And even his fake tool sponsor, Benford Tools, got a backstage pass to the cultural takeover. Number 7. The studio audience was also the Tool Time audience. Most sitcoms are filmed in front of a live studio audience, but Home Improvement took it to the next level. The people watching the Taylor family's chaos weren't just there to laugh at Tim's mistakes, they also became the audience for the Tool Time segments. Whenever Tim and Al filmed a Tool Time scene, they needed a live audience reacting to the disasters. Instead of hiring extras or using canned laughter, the producers just turned to the people already there and said, "Congratulations, you're also part of a fake home improvement show." If you got tickets to a taping, you got 2 shows. You'd watch Tim argue with Jill, then see him nearly electrocute himself on Tool Time, and then back to the kitchen. Your laughter moved through multiple layers of reality. The best part? It made the Tool Time segments feel real.
Al, just put your finger in there. There you go. Okay. 1 part pasty white, 2 parts flannel. Okay.
The laughter wasn't canned. Those were real people watching a man pretend to host a home improvement show while also pretending to be in a sitcom. From a production view, it was a smart way to save money while making the show feel more real. The studio audience worked harder than almost any other in sitcom history, without a union break. Some audience members even left saying they'd been to Tool Time, and honestly, in a way, they kinda had.
Number 8. JTT left to go to school, and it got messy. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was a teenage heartthrob in the 90s. Magazine covers, fan clubs, the kind of fame most actors spend their whole careers chasing. Then, during Home Improvement's 8th and final season, he walked away from it all.
Not too bad. She finally stopped saying, "Boys, whatever you do, don't turn out to be like your father."
His reason was that he wanted to go to college. I know, a revolutionary idea for a child star, putting education ahead of residuals. JTT said he was leaving the show to go to school, and not just any school. He enrolled at Harvard, then transferred to Columbia, studying philosophy and history, while the rest of Hollywood wondered what on earth he was talking about. Most teen stars were busy collecting sports cards at that age, but JTT was writing papers on camp.
What matters is that you got your message across.
Well, my message is on the page with next week's lunch menu. I'm buried under Salisbury steak.
Tim Allen was not happy. Allen openly said he was confused and disappointed about Thomas leaving, especially when JTT started appearing in movies right after leaving the show. To Tim, it looked less like, "I need to focus on school," and more like, "I'm done with this sitcom." The tension got so bad that Thomas skipped the series finale in 1999. Producers begged him to come back for one last episode. Just show up, say a few lines, and give fans some closure. But he said no. Nothing says, "I'm over it," like refusing to film your own character's goodbye. For years, their relationship stayed cold. Tim Allen gave interviews hinting at hurt feelings, and JTT stayed quiet, focused on his Ivy League studies. But over a decade later, things changed. In 2013, Jonathan Taylor Thomas appeared on Last Man Standing, Tim Allen's new sitcom, as a guest star. And not just once, he came back for several episodes and even directed a few.
Hey, come on in. Everybody, this is my new boss. This is John Baker.
Oh, hi, I'm Vanessa. Hi.
I'm Mike Baxter.
Hey.
Man, you look familiar.
It was a full circle moment that showed time really can heal Hollywood grudges. JTT chose Harvard over sitcom fame, skipped the finale, disappeared for over a decade, and then came back to direct his former TV dad in a completely different show. That's not just a career path, that's a choose-your-own-adventure book. Now, let's do a quick reality check. If you had to hand Tim Taylor a power tool, knowing full well he's about to destroy something with it, which tool would you give him? Drop your answer in the comments below. And while you're down there, smash that like button and subscribe, because we've got more nostalgic deep dives coming your way faster than Tim can say more power. Now, back to the Tool Time madness with number 9. The kids' ages were all mixed up. Hollywood casting directors have one job: find actors who fit the role. Home Improvement's casting team, well, they got 2 out of 3 right, which isn't bad. Here's the problem. Zachary Ty Bryan, who played Brad, the oldest Taylor kid, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who played Randy, the middle child, well, in real life, JTT was actually older by a full month. Thomas was born on September 8, 1981, and Bryan's birthday was October 9, 1981. Someone definitely should have checked birth certificates during auditions, just saying.
Why? You never read anything for a girl before.
Yeah, but this is junior high. You have to work a lot harder to impress the girls.
So sticking straws up your nose doesn't work anymore?
So the middle child was actually the oldest child. That makes Randy's constant intellectual superiority over Brad feel a little less like acting and a little more accurate. JTT was literally older and acting like it, method acting at its finest. Taron Noah Smith, who played the youngest son, Mark, was actually the youngest of the 3 actors, so at least they got that one right. 1 out of 3, that's a 33% success rate. We've seen worse, especially in Major League Baseball. But honestly, nobody noticed. The age difference was only a month, and all three kids played their roles perfectly. Brad was the jock, Randy was the smart aleck, and Mark was the sensitive youngest. Here's where it gets wholesome. Tim Allen actually went out of his way to make the young cast feel comfortable. During tapings, he would deliberately mess up his own lines on purpose just to show the kids that even the star made mistakes. Imagine being a child actor, terrified of messing up in front of a live studio audience and watching Tim the Toolman Taylor completely butcher a line and laugh it off. That gave instant pressure relief. And on a show filmed in front of a live audience, where every mistake was immediately obvious, that kind of reassurance probably prevented a few meltdowns. Child actors already have enough pressure without worrying about messing up in front of 200 people. Plus, they were confused about their birth order anyway, so you've got to give them some slack. Number 10. Pamela Anderson got her big break as Lisa, the Tool Time Girl. Before Baywatch made Pamela Anderson a household name, and before she became the most downloaded woman on the early internet, yes, that's a real statistic, she was handing power tools to Tim Allen on national television. Her big break involved socket wrenches and flannel. Hollywood can be kind of strange like that. Anderson played Lisa, the original Tool Time Girl, on Home Improvement's fake show within a show.
Here you go, Tim. Special delivery. This one's from Rock Lanigan of Bay City.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
Her job was simple. Stand next to Tim and Al, look camera ready, occasionally hand over a drill when asked, and smile through whatever disaster was about to happen. Groundbreaking television work. Truly Emmy-worthy stuff. But here's the thing. It worked. Anderson's 2 seasons as Lisa got Hollywood's attention.
Oh, it's a 2100 model electric drum sander.
That's right. 4.5 horsepower, patented stabilizer.
Not to mention full swiveling trailing wire support.
Specifically, the producers of Baywatch were looking for someone to run dramatically along a beach in slow motion. A very different skill from handing Tim a wrench, but the same basic idea. Look good while other people do the real work. By season 3, Baywatch came calling with a full-time role. Home Improvement couldn't compete with beach running fame and that red swimsuit, so Lisa disappeared with no explanation and no goodbye episode. Just gone. Debbie Dunning took over as the new Tool Time Girl and stayed for over 140 episodes, but that's another story. Anderson's career after that skyrocketed, from Tool Time Girl to Baywatch star, then movies, music videos, roughly 47 million magazine covers, and eventually one half of the most famous couple in 90s pop culture when she married Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee, the other Pam and Tommy, the ones way more dysfunctional and way less likely to yell at each other. And it all started because she spent 2 seasons handing Tim Allen drills on a sitcom. Sometimes the strangest starting points lead to the biggest careers, and sometimes those starting points involve flannel and circular saws. Number 11. There was a home improvement video game, and it was wild. The 90s were a lawless time for video game licensing. If your show was popular, someone made a game about it, whether it made sense or not. In 1994, Absolute Entertainment looked at Home Improvement, a family sitcom about a clumsy handyman, and thought, you know what, this needs combat, platforming, and industrial espionage.
That's about all for Tool Time today. I'm Tim the Toolman Taylor, hoping that all your fasteners stay.
Home Improvement Power Tool Pursuit hit the Super Nintendo with a completely wild premise. Tim's new Benford tools get stolen by industrial spies. Instead of calling security, Tim grabs a grappling hook and goes full-on action hero. But wait, it gets even weirder.
Al, the tool case is empty. Call security, call. The police? Call the National Guard.
The game takes place across sound stages of other fictional TV shows. Tim fights through prehistoric sets with dinosaurs, horror stages with acid-spewing mummies, and sci-fi levels with killer robots, all while armed with modified nail guns, jackhammers, and buzzsaws. The best part? The game came with no instruction manual. Instead, a single piece of paper read, "Real men don't need instructions." Peak 90s masculinity in just 7 words.
That some hijinks were afoot on Tool Time and I had to solve them.
Critics were baffled. Meanwhile, somewhere, Tim Allen collected a licensing check without ever touching a controller. The game flopped badly, becoming one of those strange relics of 90s merchandising madness, proving that if your sitcom was popular enough, someone would make it into a video game, even if it made absolutely no sense.
Number 12. Michigan colleges got free advertising. Product placement is usually a carefully planned business deal. Companies pay big money for just a few seconds of logo visibility. But on Home Improvement, Tim Allen just wore whatever Michigan college gear he wanted, for free. Allen was a proud Michigander and a Western Michigan University graduate, and he made everyone join in for all 8 seasons.
Welcome to our Tool Time salute.
Food fight!
To college.
In today's competitive college environment, a young man needs an edge.
That's why we've taken that dorm room and given it the old Tool Time.
It definitely felt like the wardrobe department had a simple rule. Put him in Michigan college apparel all the time. Any school. Western Michigan got the most screen time, of course, since Allen graduated from there. But smaller schools like Kellogg Community College also got primetime exposure. The best part? It cost the schools nothing. No licensing fees, no advertising contracts. Of course, there were mistakes. One episode showed Wofford College in South Carolina, and another had Owens Community College from Ohio, but those were rare. For the most part, Home Improvement became an unexpected 8-season promotional machine for Michigan higher education. Regional fans noticed, Michigan schools definitely noticed, and somewhere a marketing executive at a random community college probably spent years wondering how they accidentally got the best advertising deal in TV history without paying a single dollar.
Number 13. The creators sued Disney and lost. Home Improvement made Disney ridiculous amounts of money. Syndication gold mine money. Buy another theme park money. So when the show's creators, Matt Williams, Carmen Finestra, and David McFadden, looked at their profit-sharing checks and thought, wait, that's it? They sued the Walt Disney Company. The lawsuit came in 2013, long after the show had ended. The complaint was classic Hollywood accounting, that magical kind of math where a show makes billions, but somehow, on paper, never shows a profit.
Right now we're at the Frankfurt Fan Company located in beautiful Frankfurt, Michigan. There's nothing the Tool Man likes better than his fans, and just like my fans, these fans come in a variety of sizes, shapes, and colors.
Specifically, they claimed Disney had purposely undervalued syndication rights, especially a New York market deal that brought in zero direct payment. At first, it looked like the case might be thrown out. Disney argued the creators had waited too long, past the statute of limitations. But then came a twist. The court ruled Disney had actively blocked audits, stopping the creators from discovering the alleged accounting tricks. So the case was revived, and suddenly Disney was facing a very public trial about cooking the books. Naturally, it never went to trial. In 2019, both sides reached a secret settlement. The creators got recognition for the show's success and its cultural impact, but they had to spend 6 years in court just to fight for the contractually agreed share. Welcome to Hollywood, where even huge success comes with an asterisk and a lawyer. Number 14. Bob Vila played himself and got roasted. Most sitcoms invent fictional rivals, but Home Improvement said, why create someone when we can just use the real king of Home Improvement TV? Bob Vila, the legendary host of This Old House, appeared on Home Improvement several times playing himself. But this version wasn't the calm, dignified PBS host America knew. He was Tim Taylor's more successful, more professional, and far less accident-prone rival. The rivalry became a running gag.
How true, how true.
Al, I was going to get to that.
Tim would obsess over Vila's success, convinced they were in direct competition. Vila was completely in on the joke. He didn't worry about his reputation. He leaned into the parody, playing the competent professional who made Tim look like a disaster. But then it got truly meta. In the mid-90s, Tim Allen and Pamela Anderson appeared on Vila's real-life show, Home Again. Not as their sitcom characters, but as themselves, playing versions of themselves on an actual home improvement show. It was the ultimate crossover, fictional TV host Tim Taylor meeting real TV host Bob Vila on Vila's real show. While both acknowledged the sitcom rivalry, it worked perfectly, because Vila understood the humor of Home Improvement.
So, are you planning on using a doubled-up 2x8?
No, I'm not, Bob.
Celebrating home improvement culture while gently making fun of it, Vila's reputation was so strong that he could afford to laugh at himself. Home Improvement brought Vila into their universe, roasted him with affection, appeared on his real show, and proved that being a good sport about a parody can sometimes be the best thing for your brand. Number 15. Tim Allen and Richard Karn reunited for a real Tool Time revival. Most sitcom reunions are awkward cash grabs that just remind everyone why the show ended, but Tim Allen and Richard Karn's reunion actually worked. In 2021, nearly 25 years after Home Improvement ended, the duo returned with Assembly Required, a competition show on the History Channel. The premise? Talented makers compete to build it better by reimagining everyday objects. Allen and Karn served as hosts and executive producers, bringing back that tool-time energy, the banter, the jokes, the thinly veiled competitiveness disguised as friendship. Except this time, there was no script, just two guys in their 60s and 70s still riffing like no time had passed at all.
I'm feeling really great.
Good. You had a lot to eat, some rest, you get some Pilates in and some kale.
Yes, I have done all of that and I am ready. We got 3 new builders with serious talent. Let's go to the videotape.
They even brought in April Wilkerson, a popular woodworking YouTuber, as the show's resident expert, connecting 90s sitcom nostalgia with modern maker culture. It worked because it didn't try to recreate Tool Time. It just let Tim and Richard be themselves, just older, maybe a little wiser, still making the same silly jokes from 1995. The format was different, the context was new, but the dynamic was exactly the same. Assembly Required ran for 2 seasons before quietly ending in 2022, proving that not every reunion needs to last forever. Sometimes 2 seasons and a graceful exit is perfect. But it also shows something important. The Tool Time magic wasn't just about the fictional show or scripted disasters. It was about 2 guys who genuinely enjoyed working together, and audiences could feel that.
Tool Time! Thank you, Heidi. There's nothing like the Cleveland Hardware Expo. It's a gala event that showcases some of the most innovative products on the marketplace today.
Most sitcom casts reunite for a single special, collect a nostalgia check, awkwardly hug, and then never speak again. Tim Allen and Richard Karn reunited to host a real competition show that ran for 10 episodes. That's not just nostalgia bait, that's commitment. Tool Time got a real-life sequel 25 years later, and somehow it didn't suck. It proves that Hollywood miracles do happen occasionally, usually involving power tools and 2 guys who still know how to make each other laugh. Turns out you can take Tim and Al out of Tool Time, but you can't take Tool Time out of Tim and Al. And there you have it, 15 weird, wild, and totally true facts about home improvement. Which of these facts surprised you the most? What's your favorite Tim Taylor moment? Drop it in the comments below. We read them, and we promise not to grunt at you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more nostalgic deep dives into the shows that raised us, roasted us, and still make us laugh decades later.